Good stuff. All right. Let's go. Welcome to our third episode of Chapel Youth Chat. And you would have never known this, but this is our second recording because the old recording, didn't focus, Audrey? It didn't record half of the interview. And so we're making up for a lost tape entirely. So we really hope that you enjoy this. I'm here with Audrey Dow. She is a student here in Chapel Youth, but she's also a part of our student leadership team. But there's much more to Audrey, some of what we're going to be able to get into today, a lot that we're not going to be able to get into. So, this is a podcast for Chapel Youth students. So if you see Audrey and you don't know her, go up to her, introduce yourself to her, not all at once, just one by one. She's awesome. And so we're going to get a little bit more into that. One fun fact about Audrey, and it's really going to be the central piece of what we talk about today, is that she's been a basketball player, your whole life?
Yeah.
When did you first start playing?
I think I was in first grade.
First grade, wow. It's pretty awesome. So how old are you then? Like 6?
Yeah, 10
Wow.
years.
Crazy. So she's been playing basketball for a really long time and playing basketball at a really high level. She plays on the varsity team for the Broken Arrow Tigers and having a pretty good season. Had a really good season last year. And so always looking to go win state, right? So Audrey, that's part of our conversation today. I know you know that, but wanted to just talk to the listeners and or the watchers about applying Christ to the sports that we play. So if you're watching this and you're an athlete, maybe you're an elementary school, a middle school athlete, or you're a high school athlete, we're going to talk about how we can apply our relationship with Christ to the sport that we play. So to kind of start us today, Audrey, typically we have this thought that sports are just sports and we don't really have a need to bring God into sports. What would you say to that?
I just feel like when you bring God into your sport, it's really just like showing how much you love him, but also giving like all of my teammates a chance to hear about him. Because some of them, they come from different backgrounds to me and they didn't grow up going to church. They don't go to church all the time. So like when you bring God into your sport, you can be that light to your teammates that don't really know who he is or a lot about him.
Yeah, that's really true. Do you have like a specific example where you've been that light to a teammate?
I feel like last year I had one of my teammates. She was a senior and she like knew who God was, but she didn't like really know for sure. And then like we kind of started talking about it. She started going to church more, and then like she ended up getting baptized and stuff.
So awesome.
And so it was just sweet to see that like our friendship like helped with that.
That's really awesome. And like, did you have to coerce her or talk her into it, or what did that look like? Kind of that revelation.
I feel like she was kind of like already exploring it, and so I had her for like a Secret Santa, and I got her like this devotional book that I thought she would like, and so I feel like that kind of just opened it up.
Cool. Okay, this is going to kind of set up our next question. Do you have any superstitious things that you do related to basketball or related to sports? And if not, like, what's the craziest thing like a teammate does?
I do say I always have to pray during the national anthem.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm not really superstitious.
Yeah, that's I guess that's faith-based. That's good that you're not superstitious because we have faith in God, and that's going to be part of the question. I remember guys doing all sorts of stuff before football and basketball games, and obviously we were not playing on the level that you play. But I literally remember, like, probably the most like stereotypical one is like, I'm not going to wash this jersey, or I'm not going to wash these socks. And there was a dude that did not wash his home or away jerseys all year. And this is football, so you're sweating, and it was terrible. But on that, there is a very real aspect to our faith. Superstitions are fake, they're made up, but there really is a very true and absolute aspect of our faith and how that plays out in our life. Do you feel like your faith gives you an edge in sports? Why or why not?
I would say yes. I just feel like, I don't know, I'm just so much more confident, like, when I know that God's with me, like, playing or stuff, and I just feel like I'm just, like, happier during sports compared to some people are.
Nice. Like, you see people get worked up on the court.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
A lot.
You're able to just kind of have a lot of peace and patience on the court.
Yes.
That's good. How does the concept of working hard to achieve a goal in sports relate to your faith? Like, how do those two things go together? Because athletes have to work hard. They have to pursue a goal. Like, every single goal for every single girls basketball team in the state of Oklahoma is to win the state championship.
Yeah.
How does working toward that goal also relate to your walk with the Lord, to your relationship with Jesus?
I feel like working in basketball, it's like constant. You're always working to get better or improve on something. And I feel like it's kind of the same like in your walk with the Lord. Like you have to be intentional in working on it or doing something or reading your Bible, because if you're just like lazy, like in both basketball and your relationship with God, like it's not going to go how you want it to. You're not going to see the results because you're not actually working for it. You're just expecting it to happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. What would you say to somebody that says, well, Audrey, I feel like that sounds like I have to work for my salvation, and it looks like I have to strive and earn God's love? What would you say to somebody that would say that?
I mean, no, you don't have to like work for him to love you. Like he always loves you, but like reading your Bible and like putting in that work is like extra just helpful.
It's essential.
Yeah.
Like you have to have discipline as a Christian.
Yeah.
You can't just lay back, kind of like hyper grace, where you just like lay back and you're just like, well, you know, God's a good God, so anything I do and whatever I plan for my life, He's going to take care of it. When no, He's actually called us to work, right? It's a really good point. Another topic that's important in sports for how it relates to your faith is this idea of teamwork. You have to be a good teammate, and you have to know how to operate well on a team in sports. So how does that also relate to your walk with the Lord?
I feel like in basketball, there's 5 people on the floor because not just one person can do it all by themselves. And I feel like that's kind of the same like in your faith. Like sometimes when I don't understand something, like I go to my friends and they understand it and they'll explain it to me, and like having them like alongside me when we're like walking through the same things is really helpful. Just for them, like if I turn to them for something and they always have the answer, and then they can turn to me and we both can like help each other.
Do you think there's, and that's really good, do you think there's a similarity between like a ball hog on the basketball court and someone who says, well, you know, I don't need church, I just kind of do do you think there's a similarity there?
Yep.
Yeah, both are like, I can do this thing on my own. Yeah. And you don't really like, well, we're called to love everybody, but there's some sort of aversion to both of those, right? Nobody likes a ball hog. It's like, man, like church is such a great community. What are some of the things that you've really gleaned or really received from being in a community surrounded by Christians? Church, some of your other friends who are Christians outside of church, what are some of the things that you've benefited from?
I just feel like having the community, because none of like my family lives close, but I feel like so many people in the church, like I would consider them my family. Like, or I've never had a sister, but I consider a bunch of the girls like they're like my sisters, and I feel like church has given me that. Yeah.
That's really good. Kind of a new topic or a different direction. Human beings obviously at some point decided to compete in sports and to create competition and try to physically achieve in greater ways than other people. So where do you think that comes from? Like, why does it seem like we were created to enjoy sports so much?
I feel like we were created to enjoy them, just to like, I mean, obviously just to have fun and meet new people, but also like, I feel like God created them because He knew that they would be like a good way for like us to share His love with other people. Because I feel like when you're on a sports team, like everyone can be like so different. Like you have like in common, like, oh, we all play basketball. Oh, we all want to play basketball in college. But like your backgrounds are so different, and so it's just a good way for us to like show His love to people that normally like we would never interact with.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So then what would you say to the person, because that's obviously like a very like almost, I don't want to say relaxed, but just a confidence in God approach to sports. So what would you say to somebody, and maybe they're a Christian, they're listening to this podcast, they play sports, and they are just so anxious. Like it would be me on the other end of that camera in high school. They're so anxious about maybe even practices, but about games and about performance and about statistics. And they just have all this anxiety wrapped up in that. What would you say to that person?
I would say, like, you're not playing the sport to, like, achieve goals. Like, obviously, like, you are, but also, like, in the end, like, you're not going to heaven because you're a state champion. Or you're not going to heaven because you shot 50% from the field tonight. Like, your stats and stuff, like, yeah, like, in the moment, like, it's fun, but, like, in the end, like, that's not what God cares about. He doesn't care how many shots you shot or how many layups you missed. Like, he cares about you and not, like, your stats or anything.
Yeah, that's a really good point. How can sports, because you've talked about that, you've talked about, well, I feel like sports are created in part so we can glorify God through them. How can sports, and if you want to talk about your specific role as well on your specific team, you can, how can they be used to glorify God?
I just feel like through your actions, like your teammates, they're always watching, they always know. I feel like teammates like know you better than anyone because you literally spend all day, every day with them. And so like glorifying him, like not just through like what you say, but like what you do or how you talk about your other teammates that aren't in the room with you or how you talk about them when they do something wrong. And so just glorifying him through just like how you speak and what you do.
Yeah. That's a good point. Okay, give us an example if you can think about it.
Okay.
And don't worry, like, if you can't, we can, like, cut it and edit it or whatever. Just, like, we're going to cut and edit this exact part out.
Okay.
Pause. But give an example for a time you really use sports well as a platform to honor and glorify God. And maybe a time you didn't use the platform to honor God. Or maybe... Unfortunately, you might have used the platform to dishonor God. If there even is those examples, so that people can, because sometimes people need to relate a little bit to the mistakes that we make. Yeah.
I feel like to like not honor God, it's like sometimes like my teammates do something and I'm just like literally, what are you doing? And then I go to my other teammates and I'm like talking about them behind their back. Sure. I'm like, can you believe that she just like airballed 5 times? Like she's still shooting the ball. Like what is she doing? Like why is she in the game?
Yeah.
And so that's definitely one time I'm like, oh, like I should not have said that.
Sure.
But I also feel like honoring him is just like being a good example to your teammates. And just like I feel like most of the time, I mean, I've heard my coaches tell me this, like the way I carry myself is like a good example for God of like
it's good, yeah.
confident and like trusting in my own abilities and his abilities too.
Yeah. That's a really good word. To close out our time together today, what would be one thing that you would say to a younger athlete? Maybe they're in 6th grade, they're in 7th grade, maybe they're in 9th grade, who is wanting to use the platform of sports to glorify God. What's like one piece of advice, and if you really got just a couple of awesome pieces of advice you can share too, that you would give to that student?
I just don't be embarrassed. I feel like sometimes you can be embarrassed because you are different than your teammates, but like that's how God wanted you. He wanted you to be different so that like you could shine your light to your teammates who've never heard of him. So like just don't be embarrassed. It's going to be okay.
Amen. That's awesome. Well, Audrey, thank you. I know this is super helpful for a lot of people listening. And if you're, again, interested in getting to know Audrey better, I mean, she's here most Wednesday nights, first and third Sunday nights we meet, but really appreciate you taking the time to talk through this because we have to apply Christ to sports because Christ is at the center of all that we do. Awesome. We'll see you guys later. Nice. Perfect.
I didn't want to say anything.
What's that?
Before you started recording, you kind of like moved and like.
Oh, it was a little bit out.
Yeah, you were just like a little bit out. I mean, your face was still.
Okay, that's good. Nice. Here, I'll stop this recording.